I ever wish there was like a superpower you could use to make your relationships better.
Yeah.
Well, today we're diving deep into a communication style that just might be that, and it's called reflective conversation.
Oh, interesting.
And we're going to be looking at the source material reflective conversation to figure out
Oh,
how to
okay.
use it to really transform your relationship.
Awesome.
So it's a lot more than just like,
Mm-hmm.
nodding along while your partner's venting or something.
Right.
You're actually trying to get to a deeper level of understanding.
Yeah. And you know what's really cool about this is that it's not just some like fluffy, touchy-feely concept.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's actually based on some pretty solid psychological research.
Interesting.
Yeah. Like, think about it. Have you ever felt completely misunderstood by someone?
Oh, yeah. All the time.
Like they're not even hearing you.
Mm-hmm.
Reflective conversation is like the antidote to that.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
Right.
Let's break it down. What does reflective conversation actually mean?
Sure.
The source material talks about
Yeah.
empathy, validation,
Oh,
clarity,
Yeah.
feedback.
Right. All those things that make you feel like
Okay.
someone is really hearing you and getting you.
Totally. And it's the opposite of feeling like you're
Yeah.
talking to a wall.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about creating this space where your partner feels safe to open up,
Yeah.
knowing that you're not just waiting to jump in with your own thoughts, but you're actually trying to understand where they're coming from.
So it's less about jumping in with solutions and more about just understanding. I'll admit, sometimes I jump
Yeah.
into fix-it mode way too quickly.
That's a common trap.
Is it?
Yeah. But reflective conversation really emphasizes how important it is to acknowledge and validate your partner's feelings first.
Gotcha.
So the source materials has this great example. Imagine your partner is super stressed out and they say something like,
Okay.
work has been crazy and I feel like I'm carrying everything at home too.
Oof.
A reflective response would be something like, so you're feeling overwhelmed and unsupported right now. It's not about agreeing or disagreeing.
Yeah.
It's about
Yeah.
reflecting back their emotions so they know you're really listening.
So it's almost like you're holding up a mirror
Yes.
to their feelings so they can see them
Exactly.
more clearly.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And that's where the magic of reflective conversation really is.
True.
Just by reflecting back your partner's feelings, you're already starting to build trust and intimacy,
Wow.
which are like the two
Yeah.
cornerstones of
Right.
any healthy relationship.
The foundation.
Totally.
Now, the source material reflective conversation also gives
Okay.
like a step-by-step guide
Mm-hmm.
for actually having these conversations.
Oh, nice.
And it really stresses that you got to create a safe space, free from distractions,
Yeah.
free from judgment.
Right.
And then comes the active listening part, things like eye contact, nodding,
Right.
those little verbal cues
Yeah.
that show you're engaged.
Yeah.
But honestly, sometimes it feels like a Herculean effort to stay present, like when my partner's bringing up that same annoying thing again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, totally. I've been there.
And it's like, ugh,
It's tough.
I'm trying to be present,
Yeah.
but it's hard.
And the source material acknowledges that
Doesn't.
it's definitely a skill that
Yeah.
takes practice.
Right.
The key is to focus on reflecting
Okay.
the core message and the emotion,
Yeah.
not just like parroting back every word.
Okay.
It's about understanding the essence,
The feeling.
yeah, of what they're feeling.
Yeah. So it's not just repeating their words,
Well,
word for word.
Exactly.
It's about capturing that feeling behind the words.
Exactly.
So instead of saying like, you said you're stressed,
Right.
it's more like,
Yeah.
it sounds like you're feeling totally swamped right now.
Exactly. And notice how that ends with a gentler, more inquisitive tone. That's another crucial element.
Yeah.
Checking in to make sure you're on the same page.
Right. So you're not just assuming.
Exactly. You can even ask,
Hmm.
is that right?
Yeah.
Am I getting that right?
Does that sound right?
Yeah, something like that.
To make sure you're really understanding their perspective.
Exactly.
Because we've got the safe space, the active listening,
Yeah,
and the reflecting back of emotions.
right.
What else does reflective conversation recommend?
Well, one of the things it talks about is asking clarifying questions.
Okay, so like not just reflecting back,
Right.
actually digging a little deeper.
Yeah, But it's not about grilling your partner with a bunch of why questions, like an interrogation.
Yeah.
The source material really stresses using open-ended questions that invite your partner to share more about their experience. So, for example, instead of asking, "Are you mad?" you could say something like, "What's making you feel so frustrated right now?"
Ooh, that's good.
Or instead of, "Why didn't you just tell me this before?" you could try, "What was holding you back from sharing this sooner?"
Oh, I like that. That feels much less...
It's more gentle.
Accusatory. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's about getting to that why behind their feelings without making them feel defensive.
Exactly. It's like you're gently guiding them to explore their own emotions a little deeper.
And that actually reminds me of another psychological concept called self-disclosure, where when you create that safe space for your partner to share openly, it often encourages you to do the same.
Right.
And that leads to even deeper connection.
Totally. It's like this reciprocal thing.
Yeah.
Where vulnerability breeds vulnerability.
And understanding breeds understanding.
Exactly.
Okay, but what about when things get a little heated?
Oh, yeah.
Can reflective conversation really work in the middle of an argument?
That's a great question.
Because I feel like my listening skills go right out the window when I'm upset.
And to be honest, it's not always easy.
Right.
But that's where the real power of this technique really comes in. The source material talks about something called mirroring.
Mirroring.
Yeah. So it's where you repeat back your partner's words, but you do it calmly and neutrally.
Oh, okay.
Almost like you're holding up that mirror to their emotions.
So instead of yelling back, "Well, you never listened to me."
Exactly.
You could try saying.
Yeah.
So you feel like I'm not hearing you right now.
Exactly. It might sound a little awkward.
It does a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But by simply mirroring back their statement, you're acknowledging their feelings without escalating the conflict.
And it gives everyone a chance to just take a breath.
Totally. It can really de-escalate things and shift the focus from blaming to understanding.
I love that. That's such a simple but brilliant technique.
It's powerful.
Yeah. Now, the source material also talks about applying this beyond romantic relationships.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's not just for couples?
Nope.
It can be used with...
It can be applied to any relationship. Family, friends, even colleagues.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Think about all the misunderstandings and conflicts that happen simply because people aren't really listening to each other.
That's so true.
Reflective conversation can give you the tools to break through those communication barriers and build stronger connections.
So it's like this one skill
Yeah.
has the potential to transform not just our personal relationships, but like our whole
Powerful
social fabric.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about the steps of reflective conversation, the importance of clarifying questions, and how it can even help navigate conflict. What else does reflective conversation cover?
Well, it also spends some time on this idea of like turning that focus inward.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, like instead of just focusing on understanding our partners, it's about taking a deep dive into our own patterns and behaviors within the relationship.
So it's like holding up a mirror to ourselves
Exactly.
and seeing how we might be contributing to the dynamics.
Reflective conversation suggests that we really examine our own triggers, our knee-jerk reactions, and how our actions might be impacting our partner.
It's like taking responsibility.
It is.
For our part in the relationship.
Yeah, it's about that willingness to look in the mirror and honestly assess our role.
That honestly feels a little daunting to me.
I get it. It's definitely a journey, and reflective conversation acknowledges that.
Okay.
But think of it like this. If you're constantly reacting from a place of like insecurity or past hurt, it's going to be really hard to truly listen and respond with empathy.
Makes sense, because if I'm already on edge, I'm more likely to misinterpret things or get defensive.
Exactly.
So how do I even start cultivating that self-awareness?
So the source material suggests asking yourself some key questions before, during, and after conversations with your partner.
Like what?
Things like, what am I feeling right now?
Okay.
What assumptions am I making about my partner's intentions? Am I truly listening, or am I just waiting to defend my point of view?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's about pausing to check in with yourself.
Right.
And noticing if your own baggage is clouding your perception.
And the source material also talks about taking responsibility, which is something I definitely struggle with.
It's not always easy,
No.
But it's so crucial for building trust and intimacy.
In what way?
Well, it's about being willing to own up to our mistakes.
Okay.
Apologize genuinely and make amends.
So we're showing them that we value the relationship enough to put our egos aside.
It shows your partner that you're committed to growing.
Right.
Both individually and as a couple.
But how does that tie back into reflective conversation?
Well, taking responsibility often involves expressing our own needs and feelings in a clear and vulnerable way.
So it's not just about listening to our partner, also about being open about our own experience.
It creates that sense of reciprocity.
Right? So like you're both putting in the effort.
And that circles back to one of the core principles of reflective conversation.
Okay.
Creating that safe space for open and honest dialogue.
When both partners feel safe to express themselves without fear of judgment or blame.
It creates a deeper level of trust and connection.
So we've talked about understanding our partners, understanding ourselves.
Yeah.
What about understanding the relationship as a whole?
Oh, yeah, that's a great point.
Does reflective conversation address that?
It does. It talks about the importance of regularly reflecting on the relationship itself.
Like scheduling check-ins.
Exactly, like State of the Union conversations.
I like that.
Yeah, where you both can share your thoughts and feelings about the relationship, identify areas for improvement, and come up with solutions together.
So it's not about like dredging up old arguments.
No, it's about proactively working together.
To make the relationship the best it can be.
Exactly. And that actually ties into a really interesting sociological concept.
Oh, yeah? What's that?
It's called social exchange theory.
Okay. I've never heard of that.
So the basic idea is that relationships thrive when both partners feel like they're getting something valuable out of the exchange.
Makes sense.
So by regularly checking in and making adjustments, you're making sure that both partners feel heard, valued, and appreciated.
So we're making a conscious choice to invest in the relationship.
Exactly. And that's where the true power of reflective conversation lies. It's not just a communication technique.
Okay.
It's a mindset.
Wow.
A commitment to understanding ourselves, our partners, and that intricate dance of connection.
That's beautiful.
That makes up a healthy relationship.
We started by talking about reflective conversation as a simple listening skill.
Right.
But it's so much more than that.
It really is.
It's a journey of self-discovery, empathy, and conscious co-creation. I hope this deep dive has given our listeners some valuable tools to create more fulfilling and meaningful relationships.
And remember, the journey of growth within a relationship is ongoing.
That's so true.
There's always more to learn, more to explore, and more ways to deepen your connection with the people you care about most.